You ever wonder if we could actually turn back the clock on our minds? I mean, it's a question we've all thought about, right? Well, today we're diving into some absolutely incredible new research that might have found the key to do just that. Look, it's something we all know. As we get older, our minds can lose a step, you know? That sharp focus, that quick memory recall, it can start to fade a bit. And while it feels like a simple fact of life, it's actually driven by some really complex stuff happening deep inside our brains. Okay, so if we're going to talk about reversing this process, we first have to understand what's making the clock tick in the first place. Let's get into the brain's own aging clock. All right, let's talk about the unsung heroes inside your head, your neural stem cells. Seriously, think of them like this dedicated 24/7 repair crew. Their whole job is to create new neurons and keep everything running smoothly. This regeneration is absolutely crucial for keeping our minds sharp. But you guessed it, as we get older, this crew, well, it starts to slow down. So what's the deal? What causes this amazing repair crew to just slow down? It's the big question, right? And the answer, believe it or not, is written right into our own DNA. So let's zoom way, way in. We're going from the big picture of the brain down to the tiny microscopic level to see exactly what's causing this cellular standstill. A huge part of the puzzle comes down to these things called telomeres. The best analogy, and it's a great one, is to think of the plastic tips on your shoelaces. You know how they stop the lace from fraying? Well, telomeres do the same thing for our DNA. They're protective caps. But here's the catch. Every single time a cell divides, those telomeres get just a little bit shorter. It's literally a ticking clock built into our cells. And you can see the impact right here. On one side, you've got a young stem cell. It's got these long telomeres, it's dividing, it's doing its job. But then look at the aged stem cell. Those telomeres have gotten too short, and that acts like a giant red stop sign. It tells the cell, nope, you're done dividing. Scientists have a name for it, a proliferation defect. And it's basically why our brain's repair crew is forced into retirement. But what if you could just ignore that stop sign? What if you could tell that retired crew to get back to work? Well, this is where the story gets really exciting. A major headline just dropped announcing a huge discovery, a way to potentially reverse that exact process. And that brings us to the hero of this story, a single, incredibly powerful protein that's at the heart of this entire breakthrough. It's called DMTF1. Yeah, I know, it's a bit of a mouthful, but what it is a transcription factor. All you need to know is that this means it's like a master switch for your genes. It can turn them on or off. And what DMTF1 does is it basically walks right up to that cellular stop sign we talked about, the one from the short telomeres, and it just flips it back to green. It says, go. And the process itself is just so elegant. So you take an aged stem cell, one that's gone dormant because of its short telomeres, then you artificially increase the amount of DMTF1. And that's it. The stem cell just wakes up and gets back to work, making new cells like it did when it was young. It's like hitting a restart button at the cellular level. This is just incredible stuff. And hey, speaking of which, if you find this kind of science as mind-blowing as I do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. That way you won't miss out on what we cover next. So this is the main takeaway, right? This one single protein was able to completely rescue that proliferation defect in aged cells. It's an incredible finding. It really suggests that we might have found a way to actually rewind the clock inside our own cells. And look, this is way more than just a cool experiment in a lab. This discovery throws open the doors to a whole new world of potential treatments, stuff that honestly sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. I mean, the possibilities here are just staggering. This isn't just about maybe keeping our minds a little sharper as we get older. This could be a whole new way to fight horrible neurodegenerative diseases, like Alzheimer's. The goal shifts from just managing the symptoms to actually rejuvenating the brain's own built-in repair system. Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually do this in a person? And this is where it gets even more futuristic. Scientists are looking at these things called tail proteins. The best way to think of them is like programmable microscopic delivery drones. You can design them to go to a very specific address in your DNA and flip on a specific switch. In this case, the switch that makes more DMT-F1. This is how we get from a theory in a lab to a real potential therapy. When you really think about it, what this research shows us is just profound. The key to turning back the clock on our brains might not be some external drug or crazy new technology. The blueprint, the instructions for rejuvenation,
They might have been written inside our own DNA all along. We just had to find the right key to unlock it.